Okay, it's 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to start by acknowledging that this meeting is held on Syca's territory. And often I reflect on water matters, and it was good to see a lot of you at the Syca's film this weekend, or the film done with Syca's and Salatin. Nunchako, it will be a great river again, a big river again. And I just thought that was really a heartwarming experience to do that, and glad to get the chance to do it on a big screen. And I'd seen it on a computer screen before, but it's not the same, right? So it's great to see it that way. We have an agenda circulated. Would somebody like to move adoption? Seconder? Any additions or deletions? All in favor? That's carried. We have the minutes from the October 27th meeting. Would somebody like to move adoption? Seconder? Any errors or omissions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, delegations. NeighborLink. Megan, do you want to come up and start presenting?
First of all, I would just like to introduce. So this is Megan Young, and she's a former director of NeighborLink, but she's now on our fundraising committee. And Chris Wingham is chair of NeighborLink, and he's also on the fundraising committee. So Megan is going to give the presentation. Then if you have any questions, Chris can answer anything pertaining to the actual purchase of the building and anything to do with grants, anything to do with fundraising or NeighborLink, I can answer. So just let Megan give the presentation.
That's our logo. It's lovely. So who are we as NeighborLink? If you have knowledge of us already, you probably understand it quite well, but we've been around since 1992. And we've been serving the community for a continuous 33 years. I say we. I have been involved through my mother's participation as a volunteer. And the volunteerism is it serves our community at large, the RBDN, Area F, Sycas First Nations, and our General Vanderhoof. It's comprised of multiple churches and also outside parties as well. Churches are mentioned because those are the people that sit on our board. We offer a variety of programs. I will highlight some of the ones that are very specifically advantageous to people who are in need to do with food security. We have the food bank that runs through our programming. We have our weekly meals on Wednesdays, which serves a hot lunch. We call it the community lunch and not a soup kitchen because it is open to the whole community. And I've been going for several years and now with my children, and it is a wonderful event in my week. And more recently, in the last few years since the farmers market started, we've got the coupon program, which allows people to access fresh local food. Some low-income families and other people in need use this program. And then there's other programs we also run out of NeighborLink, which are generally very nourishing to the body and the spirit. Some of them have some religious type affiliations, but also we are serving the needs of people coming through town who don't have accommodations, food. In our town, we do not have emergency shelters, and so we provide the Sojourners program, which is a short-term help for those who need to get food or shelter. We haven't been tracking our volunteer hours. We started in January of 2025. So from January to June, we said, okay, we got to figure out what kind of hours we put in here. And we discovered that there was about 4,112 hours contributed by various volunteers and ministries within NeighborLink. This means that we had 103 40-hour work weeks donated to us, or approximately 170 hours of volunteer time every week. And we are never short of volunteers. We continue to have committed community support. And I would say that, you know, it's a prestigious thing to be a volunteer at the NeighborLink a thrift store. You know, you want your spot and you show up, or else it'll be given away. um, we have a new home. And that's why we're here today, is to share about what's been exciting for us. In 2024, we moved to the old bowling alley, which went then turned into Scott's Grill. And so it's on the corner of Butte and Columbia. It's been a huge benefit to us. We've been there for just over a year. And what's we've noticed most is that the Act Two thrift store has done tremendously, and it covers our rent and above and beyond. Currently, we have a 3-year lease with the owner and first right of first refusal. So when he sells it, we get to say we'd like to purchase it or not. There are many advantages to owning the building. We feel that it would bring us a lot of financial stability. It would increase our community visibility, and I think the design of the space is pretty good for us, generally speaking. But when you own the place, you can be flexible and move things around as you please. It has a commercial kitchen, which is super convenient for all of the things we do to do with food and food bank and serving of food. But the impact we can make if we can customize our space will be big for us. Other things we consider are that funding and granting changes when you own the building. So we would be eligible for a wider variety of grants. So being there for a year, we've seen that we've are really well accommodated, and we want to guarantee that we continue to serve the community from that space, and we feel that we can expand our services as new needs arise. So here's a little budget thing, the numbers. As NeighborLink, as a board, we have funding enough to be able to put down payment to the tune of 300,000 about. We're looking for the community to help us raise 150,000. We also are seeking out grants and other donations, hoping that that would yield about 300,000. And if we need to, we would be able to get a mortgage at a favorable interest rate. So whether we need to do that or not, we're not sure yet. But I know for certain that it would be less than the current rent that we have to pay monthly. And we're comfortable at this moment with our rent situation. Not comfortable enough not to want to buy the building, however. So how can you help? What we are asking is that you give serious consideration to donating towards our project, which is the purchase of the building at 189 Columbia Street East in Vanderhoof, BC, to be used as our permanent NeighborLink home. And we are asking for a one-time donation of $50,000 to contribute towards the overall funds that we're looking for throughout the community and with our own efforts. Your gift would bring us closer to our goal and ensure that we remain a steady and reliable community presence, which we feel that we've been for quite a long time. With your support, Vanderhoof NeighborLink can continue to provide the hope, dignity, and care for all those who walk through our doors. Do you have any questions for us that we can try to answer?
Councillor Lozay. I guess we're on direct speak, so we'll go with the hand system when people want to speak. I do.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
Councillor Lozay.
So thank you very much. Yeah, NeighborLink does provide a great service, so thank you for that. Often is the food bank open? So is it weekly? Is it
Once a month.
So once a month
Yes.
you distribute, okay? Got it, okay. And,
We do have food available all the time because there are sometimes people who need an extra one or weren't aware of it. But generally, we've got one food bank a month. I think it's the second Thursday of the month.
okay, and so, and and you provide one hot meal a week, is
Yeah.
that? So is there, and because as I'm understanding it, the need is becoming greater and greater for food. There really is, you know, that those statistics are
Yes,
everywhere.
yeah.
And I don't think our community is an exception. So would NeighborLink at some point consider opening the food bank more often? And would you consider opening the food or like providing hot meals or if somebody else wanted to come in? Like, would they be open to looking at options and what is needed? Because there is a huge need in the
Yeah,
community
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, we've noticed our food bank hamper demand has grown over the last, I think in the spring when I was here giving a presentation, I think it was about 75 hampers and now it's up to about 100 hampers. So it has increased. And so I'm sure there's going to become a time when we need to offer more. At the moment, I think we're taking care of the need that we have.
Okay.
There are about 40 that come to every Wednesday lunch. That's kind of a
Yeah.
rounded number. It's been a very consistent offering. Everyone knows when it's happening, but you asked the question whether we would ourselves to the opportunity to have more lunches
Yeah.
per week. Is that what you're
Yep.
wondering?
Yeah, both, because I'm just, you know, what we're hearing at this table is there is a need in this community and that need isn't being met. And certainly NeighborLink is appreciated and supporting, but the need is growing. And so my question is, you know, would NeighborLink consider offering more? What would be needed to do that? Opening it up to more volunteers, et cetera. You said you have a pretty strong workforce of volunteers, which is great, but maybe there's room for more volunteers to come in if NeighborLink can't handle. So those are just my concerns. I would just like to see some of these programs expanded and would like to understand if NeighborLink would be open.
There was a response or no?
Well,
Mm,
I thought we did kind of answer it.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
But
Okay.
sorry, yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Just was
my-
pausing
We
for
are
a,
open to, as the change is needed. At the moment, I would say that we're not really aware if we're not meeting the needs of the community. So if you're hearing otherwise or know otherwise, be sure to bring it to us. Because we feel that anybody who comes through our door who is hungry, they get food.
Change of
So-
location has been good for us in terms of like participation. Wondered because we used to be right on the main street, whether down the road, but there might be just a little bit of potentiality there. And the space is bigger. There's way more room to sit down and eat. It feels like cleaner, safer in a lot of ways. What was I getting at there? Anyways, they are taking advantage of the people to be taken and are there, but there are also still a group comprised of 10 churches, and the way that we reach out to the community through those church avenues, and so there's always a possibility that we aren't sort of visible to certain members of our community at large. So as we're in this new location, we are curious to know how people are visualizing us. And one of the things about getting access to this building would be we could take this space, make it different, and publicize ourselves a little bit so that it could be made aware of.
And we are finding with our Wednesday lunch that often now people are asking if there's enough extra and they can take a lunch home with them. And we have been doing that.
Good. Any other questions? Councillor Young?
The Sojourners Program, that comes up every once in a while. How does that work? Your hours, you know, it's emergency, so it's not like 9. How often is it being used for?
It hasn't been used very much at all, and it basically is run through the RCMP
Yeah.
and the hospital. So they're the ones who would direct, and they have access to, basically, it's just a accommodation usually for 3 nights and 2 nights, 2 or 3, and meals to go with that. So it's people who are stranded from the hospital that, you know, don't have a place to go. And so at the moment and it really has not been used very much. And we did turn it, I think about 3 years ago, we made it into also a cold weather.
Mhm.
And we sort of increased it so that, you know, in the really cold weather, people could utilize it. And I think we've had a little bit of utilization of that, but
I think it's a great program. And I hope that we could help you. I don't know if the term advertise is best for that, because it's obviously something hope isn't used a ton because,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
other ways, but
Yeah.
I think it's a really good one.
But I think I've heard most artists that if there's a need, there's a number to call, kind of thing. If you haven't got access through the hospital or from our CMP, I see that you can call this person in an emergency and someone will get.
Any other questions? Nope. Unfortunately, that's not how our procedures by law works. Question I had just on the price of the building, which is almost double the assessed value, right? Do you have an assessment that supports that?
We have an
Price.
appraisal that the vendor provided to us, Kevin, and that's his asking price, basically, is the
Okay.
800,000 that the appraisal showed. And so board was asked to determine whether or not they were satisfied with that. And we had a resolution several months ago in which we determined that, yes, we would purchase it at that price once we were in a position to finance it. So that's where we are right now. We're in the process of trying to raise the funds to meet that commitment.
one of the real advantages that we have found with that building is we were able to move in there and carry on business. And that is worth a lot. And there aren't any stairs because most of our volunteers are, you know,
Mhm.
getting up there. And so we can't, for example, have food storage downstairs in a basement. We're going to be going up.
Yeah.
So it has been ideal for us in many ways.
No, it's a great service that you provide, and it's been working great out of that location. So thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just one last comment that in 33 years, to my knowledge, we have never asked the district for any financial assistance. I've been involved since the beginning in the last 10 years. And I look on this as more a commitment to an essential service than it is, you know, a donation. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on, 6.1, zoning amendment for 183 First Street West. I think you're going to speak that. Well, William, it's you. No, that's not you. You're over here.
Thank you. This is just back before council due to an error in uploading the bylaw to the report in the last meeting. So it's kind of a housekeeping, but we have told the contractor that they continue on. They don't have to wait for this bylaw to be adopted to start the work, and they'll apply for a building permit to do the work. So it's just at council again for first, second, and third reading, and then it will go to MOT. They will sign it off tomorrow, they said, and it'll come back November 24th for adoption.
Seconder. Discussion, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, then we have the Parade of Lights.
This is the request from the Chamber of Commerce for the Parade of Lights route. It is the same as last year and has been approved by the Public Works Manager and the Director of Protective Services. And yeah, it's pretty much the same as last year.
I'll move the recommendation.
Have a seconder? Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. 6.3, bylaw notice, screening officer.
This is for our bylaw enforcement program. The screening officer is to be appointed by council, and require a policy for the screening officer to operate. So this report was recommending that the policy be adopted and that the Director of Protective Services be appointed as the screening officer. And that is for tickets that are appealed.
Do you have a recommendation there? Does anybody want seconder? Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried.
This next one is a resolution that we need to submit to the Ministry of the Attorney General to add the district to the bylaw notice enforcement regulation that lists all the municipalities in the province that have the authority to issue bylaw notice enforcement tickets.
Do we have a seconder? Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 6.5, now over to Will. Yeah,
So this recommendation is to allow us to be able to move forward with the UBCM special projects funding for capital infrastructure. So this is for the North Side Water. This is part of the package that was created over the summer period to do a pre-design on the recommendations on what improvements would be needed for the North Side Water System. They need the recommendations that are outlined in this meeting in order for them to be able to move forward with the grant components.
so we have a recommendation. Somebody want to move it?
I'll move the recommendation.
Seconder? Any discussion on that? Go ahead, Councilor.
Under paragraph 2 financial, talks about the RBA, but they actually misquoted. It's not the Regional Benefit Alliance. It should say Resource Benefit Alliance there. Other than that, it's fine.
Good catch.
Thanks for forgetting me.
Any other discussion? Calling it? Yeah, Councilor Lozay.
I'm just confirming this is just to apply for the grant application. This.
Yeah, so the grant application has gone in
Yeah.
with the details that are located in that package that's there on the
Right.
pre-design.
Okay.
And then once it's approved, then we'll be able to move forward with the project.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, council priorities we have on there as always to remind us of our strategic goals and how we plan to get there. October crime stats. Any comments from that? Seeing none is a fairly standard report. Yeah. Building statistic. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Martins.
I was going to say, it's really not a, thanks, Mayor. It really is not a comment on the stats. I just thought it was good. And I think we had the information the other day that with the Halloween night and how popular and how well it's received and everything, that the RCMP that said there was not one file as far as any, negative on that Halloween night. And that's actually something to be kind of proud of, I think, thanks to certainly the chamber and everyone else, but that shows everyone's taking part in it and it's really doing an important job for our community. So I thought hats off to everyone for having a great, not one problem that night.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that.
No, that's a really great comment. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to building statistics. Any questions there? No, we'll move on to the Highway 16 traffic safety operations review. Do you have any comments, Will, or?
Yeah, so I'm just. So the one comment in this is what exactly we want to do with this report moving forward. One of the options is that we can actually forward this to MOT, maybe with a letter from mayor and council, just endorsing the study and recommending that there be some discussions with staff in order to how to implement certain aspects of this. If there's areas that council is not comfortable with us proposing, by all means, let us know. But there is quite an extensive list of recommendations on what could be done. Everything from pedestrian crossing improvements to right turn restrictions coming off of Burrard and onto the highway. Some things that'll help to reduce the potential for accidents in locations. Reducing the number of driveway access points all the way along the corridor and kind of funneling activities into specific locations. Some of it's not exactly desirable, that you could say, you know, having no posts all the way through our community is not very attractive, but it would be something that could be done as a temporary measure to see whether it works. And then once it's done, then we could have a discussion with the ministry about possibly relocating their curb out to that location and creating that corridor along the side that's a little bit more of an attractive measure. So there's lots of different options and ways that we can approach this.
Go ahead, Councillor Lozay.
No, no, I think it would be really important to endorse it and bring it to the ministry's attention, because there was a couple of pieces in there that I found concerning where we are higher than provincial averages and considerably higher. So I think that's really important. I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to write a letter, forward that to them.
We have a seconder for that. Then we'll continue on with this.
Is the motion to endorse the study
Yeah.
and forward it?
That's right.
Okay, so further discussion on the motion.
I just want to, I'm really excited to see a lot of this put down in a report, because it's putting out to the public and to others and for people to see what we've been talking about for the last many years. It's not just been the last couple of years. And some of the real key areas that we've been concerned about are really discussed well in there. And I love the mapping, and it shows you how this can be tackled. So now I'm excited to see maybe this could help us get some headway here finally. So good.
I agree, Councillor Van Dola.
Just some interesting pieces in here, especially around the accidents, and about 50% of them are animal involved. And I thought, oh, which hit home, because I was coming back from Prince George here the other day. My wife and I almost hit a deer just coming into town. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So they're talking about having that signage and stuff in a lot better and more visible. It surely hit home for me. One of the things that I thought was kind of missing in the report was kind of some forecasted potential costs for doing some of the works in there. It would have been nice to know, you know, as a council, yeah, we've been talking about some of these improvements, some of the potential traffic light areas and stuff like that, but what's the bottom line? What does that look like? And the content in the report was good. I just thought that it was missing, you know, well, if you do this is what, you know, it could be costing, you know, the people of the community. And so I wish that would have been in there, but other than that, the mapping that was produced in here is fantastic.
So just to respond to that, part of the reason that there wasn't costing involved is that this is ministry jurisdiction. So the costs that are associated with it realistically are their responsibility.
Right.
Now, if they want to enter into an agreement with us about cost sharing or things like that, well, then we can bring those back to you for decisions at that time.
Perfect.
Depending on where it is and what that cost is, we may entertain that idea, or we may say, well, no, there's benefits there.
Yeah.
The other thing that could be taken into consideration is ICBC funding. So often if there's improvements that will lower the number of crashes that are happening at a location, ICBC can often put up money that'll go towards it, and that could help to supplement the ministry or perhaps our contributions in those situations.
Good.
Councillor Landola's point there, I totally agree with what you're saying. I also think at this stage, it's almost a bit of, hey, you need this. It doesn't really matter if it's going to cost 50,000 more or 100,000 more. If it's needed, then we can push to make it happen. So I agree with what you're saying when we talk about what's our share going to be and how can we afford to do those things. But some of those areas that we talk about, I mean, I just think about that crosswalk right in front of the museum
Mhm.
that's been talked about for how many years and with how many close calls. I don't really care how much it costs, as long as it's not going to be in the millions, because there's a time that we're going to wish we had done that sooner, right? So, and we've been asking and asking. So to me, the philosophical statement of it's needed, so let's get it done. I know it's easy to say when it's not our money, but it has to happen, right?
What I think is good too, and acknowledging that in the past we have lobbied for, especially that crosswalk and some other areas. I like that this kind of takes the whole range of problems, puts them into one document, and now maybe we can sit down and talk about the high priority ones,
Exactly.
right? When we show that there's a lot of need here.
And it also takes out that anecdotal and emotional component, I just went there, but I think it takes that out because
Yeah.
you can see why it's prioritized, right? So I think we're all on the same page here. I'm just really happy to see it done.
Go ahead, Councillor Martins.
Yeah, and just following that up too, that we are on the same page, and I agree with Councillor Young saying we need it. The day will come when we wish we would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
We don't want that, and it could happen. And another one was up on top of the hill, the traffic situation up there and the possibility of the light. And we know how we all felt that it was maybe not quite enough room. The testing has been done that the sight lines are good if you're going speed limit, which maybe needs to be enforced a little more too, but that would help that. But having said that, if you've driven by there in the last week or two, they're actually working up there. So that will happen, that gas station thing and stuff relatively soon. So the traffic is going to increase. For sure it is. We know that. So that's
Good. All in favor? That is carried. We have the link to correspondence there, and then we head into councillor items, and we'll start with Councillor Martins.
Thanks. Just really have nothing, really nothing to say. Not that everybody else wasn't at the same events that we probably all attended. I did miss the screening of that film yesterday. I didn't get back in town in time, and I heard it was really good. Sorry I missed it, but I just wanted to again touch on the pumpkin walk and how successful I thought it was because of what I mentioned with zero issues and we had lots of traffic there again, and that's part of our plan for the next big event there to deal with traffic. So we can probably learn from some of those things. That's it.
Do you want to adopt them?
Here to
The-
talk to.
Talk to them.
the-
Let's
You
do
can
it while you're on. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we just touching on the Central or the Centennial Committee. The minutes are available. We need to adopt those.
I was wrong. We don't need to adopt them. We just need to present them.
Okay. They have been presented, yeah, and that's really good. And we've had a few small updates and things happening since then. So it's moving along. I've been working on it every day, some anyway, so we are moving along. So if anybody has any questions with that, we can certainly answer it. Next meeting's not for another couple of weeks yet, so I'll have more time to work on our individual parts of it. But no questions with that? No, not as it stands. We have the galleries open for anyone to come to these meetings, but the committee has kind of been voted on, and we have everybody we need there right now representing different parts of the community and stuff like that. So we always appreciate input. Talk to us on the street somewhere or something and things like that. We'll certainly bring.
meetings are wide open.
Pardon me? The next one is, I can tell you that in a second here, I think.
November 25th at 4:30 in this room.
Yes, and thanks for your interest. It is, there's still quite a ways to go, but it is gaining momentum and people are excited about it, so.
There's going to be a lot of work to do for a lot of people in the community.
Yes.
And if you're interested in volunteering, there's absolutely room for volunteers and so they can email the district 100 years. Yeah, and then just indicate that you're willing to volunteer and you will be contacted. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Bulmer.
Basically the same thing Ernest went through. I did the pumpkin walk again for the 100th year, how many ever years it's been on. We've been doing it a long, long time. I went down basically this year to see how drones would compare to fireworks. I enjoyed them and all the people I was with enjoyed them. And someone did say they should have a soundtrack. Other than that, they were good. So, and I didn't hear too much derogatory about it. My wife and I actually walked there and then tried to leave. We will need some kind of traffic control there. It was a little dangerous for us to come up the one part where we were. There's just too many vehicles and that. So yeah, we should look at some crowd control there.
All good. Keep on.
Okay. Yes. And then last night, yesterday as well, I went to Nechako. It'll be a big river again. And I was also blown away by the amount of people who showed up. Living in this town for that long, we've heard a lot of this, but I've never seen it presented that way. I've never seen my area of the world presented that way as well. And I thought it was quite emotional and very educational. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And that's it for me.
Councillor Vandola.
Hi, thanks. Attended the Mount Milligan Community Sustainability Committee face-to-face in Fort St. James this past Thursday. The meeting was held at the new hospital in the fort. A little bit of traffic issues there because they hadn't quite finished the parking lot there. So we were kind of trying to wiggle around and park along the side of the road there and then of course where they had the meeting room, it's kind of a convoluted setup to get in there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a very beautiful facility and I'm sure the individuals up in the fort are pretty excited to have that building there. Kind of the highlights for Centerra Gold in Mount Milligan was they mined 12.6 million tons of material. 5.3 million tons were processed, and they were able to extract 32,500 kilos of gold this last year, which was 29% below the budgeted kind of amount that they were hoping to get. Similarly, they also take copper out of there, and they got 13.4 million pounds of copper, which again was 13% below what they're budgeting. So it was a tough year for Centerra. Now the only saving grace for them was that gold went up to $4,000 an ounce. And if it wasn't for the fact that the gold had risen so high, they would have been in really tough shape. One of the things that Centerra does a really good job of is identify the number of people that from the different locations that are in their regional kind of area that they report out on. They've done a good job of that. Their goal is to get about 65% of the workforce there to be local or within that regional group. Currently, they're not quite there. They're 58%, but they're doing a good job. Right now, there's 142 people from Prince George work at the site. Fort St. James is 56. Mackenzie's got 38. Fraser Lake's got 40. Smithers 18. We have 19 people up there working. Burns Lake 12. Tumbler Ridge 9. Telkwa 8. Houston 9, and a few other stragglers. One of the things that the committee talked about was the shifts that they have there. There's a lot of concerns that there may be the percentage of shifts being the 14 in, 14 out were fairly significant. It turns out that most of the shifts, 70% of the shifts are 7 and 7. And so that was good to hear. That means more locals and less international staff are coming in. And they only have 20% 14 and 14. And then the rest is, kind of a 1 weekend, kind of a 5 day a week kind of a schedule for the admin staff and stuff out there. So they're looking to expand their footprint there to go to 2045. So they're currently working on their expansion of on the mine lease area. And so they're undertaking a bunch of exploration in the existing brownfields, looking at new greenfield projects and stuff. So it was going good there, so they're hoping that this next year produces a little better. They're trying to get it figured out a little better because where they're currently digging, the ore's not there. If they move to a different place, it might show up a little better. So I sent the newsletter that we got to everybody. So hopefully everybody's able to take onto that. So yeah, so that was the update there. And again, the pumpkin walk, it was one of the kind of the blessings of the pumpkin walk is I don't have as many kids come to the house and candy anymore. We used to get over 100, and the last few years we're under 50. So we know that the numbers are more people are heading to the Riverside to get their treats than to go knocking door to door. So.
You wearing your Grinch?
Well, I had the dog. He woof 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 to everybody, so keeps them on their toes. And that's it for me.
Awesome, thanks. Councillor Young.
Like most people in the room, I did attend the recent centennial meeting. I also met with CNC at a presentation there. They asked me to come as a counselor and as a principal, I guess, because I have a big head and wear two hats. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But it was good to hear from the Dean of Trades there again. There's about 5 other staffers that came in from CNC as well. And it was really good. It's a lot of the things that we've been hearing here at council, but also they're really trying to push to find it from the community, what are the things they can continually add, especially in terms of, looking at dual credits and other pieces. So, not forgetting about the bread and butter in terms of some of the local interest type courses, but also really pushing more on upgrading in terms of, allowing folks to come in there and making changes in their careers, but also pulling in that recently graduated student as well, which is something I know I've always been focused on. I know there's been changes in their funding, obviously, because of the change in international students coming to them. They've really lost a lot of funding because of that. But in some ways, it's a real benefit to those in our region in terms of local students, because now they're focusing on trying to get more here in our area. So, it's a win-lose. We like win-wins, but right now for some they're losing. But I think it's going to be good for us in these smaller communities to get more attention. And that's what we've been asking for some time. So yeah, it was a really good vibe there, and some really good questions are being answered. So it was good for that. I didn't get to see as much of the pumpkin walk as I would have liked, because I had was cheating. I was going back and forth to a baseball game and trying to watch a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old down there, and they're getting tuckered out. But I want to echo that piece around a lot of people. It's a mixed bag, but I think a lot of people really enjoyed the new look, and the music. I think is a thing if we think about going forward in the future. Just having something to go along with that, I think will really help too, right? And a big congrats to all those who made sure that happened once again, because every year it always blows me away how successful it is. And every year we've walked through some of those areas you talk about, Tom, so I'm well aware of what you're saying, for sure. The presentation yesterday was really good. And I think we have a lot of commonalities with our friends at SICAs in terms of our interests in the river, and our desires are much similar. Obviously, they have a much longer connection and some different ideas around that, but be really good as we go through that process as communities to have more opportunities to partner with them there where we can, because that resource is so vital to so many in this area. And it was really good to see that presentation, and to, like Tom said, to see it from a different perspective, and not just culturally, but also visually, and seeing, that's what you're alluding to, a lot of drone footage there was beautiful, and allows people to see how beautiful it is in this area, despite some of the changes. That's all for me.
Councillor Lozay.
I'm sorry, I missed the presentation yesterday. I haven't got anything to report. I've been away.
Okay, I'll start with, I did talk about the Nechako. It will be a big river again at the beginning, and how good that was. For those of you that missed it, the NFB is going to release it on their website in the next 6. Oh, is it there?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I thought
He said it was going to be later, but
yeah.
I checked their last one.
Okay. And for those of you that have an Apple TV, I know that they have an app on there and we often watch NFV films. It's a little better quality than sitting in front of your laptop in often cases. Pumpkin Walk again was wonderful, and kudos to the chamber and all the volunteers that put that on. It really is a great event, and just reflecting back to Councillor Martin's comment about the police having no files that night. I mean, that's pretty amazing on a night that historically used to be a bit of chaos around here. How far it's come. Been sick for the last week, so a lot of online meetings. Thank goodness for Zoom. It can keep you there even when you shouldn't be. But it's been fairly busy, but fairly doable there. Not an awful lot to report out right now from that. There will be some coming. The regional district is doing the prepping for budget mode right now, and so there's a lot of documents there, and some that I will share out with council, just so you got that sort of backgrounder of where the regional district is and where it's heading, and environmental services and how much money that sucks up and continues to be a liability going forward, right? It's really the biggest function of the regional district. Good. And then looking forward, the Friday after next, the 21st, Andrew Zornahallen is going to be in town from Rio Tinto, so I have an 8:30 with him there. So if anybody has anything burning to ask of him, let me know, and I can make sure I ask him that. Okay. Well, with that, I will declare us adjourned. Thank you.